Okay, well, we opened up the talk by talking about the different aspects of wealth. Physical health is certainly key. As a matter of fact, for a lot of people, that'd be the primary thing. There's spiritual health. You need to have some sort of an inner life, relationships and community, time freedom, and financial freedom. And actually, we want to address those last two right now because, as Christa said earlier, the lack of money. It's not money that's the problem for most people, it's the lack of money, right? Mm-hmm. And the lack of money creates an immense amount of stress in relationships, in family life, in personal life. Matter of fact, Christa and I, we were very humble circumstances. Both of us grew up, neither of our families were wealthy. As a matter of fact, we'd probably be on the poor end of the economic scale. And so when we got together, we had lack of money-itis. Neither of us had any money. So the lack of money determined what we could eat, because we love good organic food, but it's expensive. Where we could live. I love having a beautiful, open, spacious, airy house to live in, but we didn't have that. How we could dress, where we could travel, if we could travel, whether we could go out, whether we had to stand, what we had to do for work was determined by lack of money. So all these things, and they all compounded into what? Time poverty. We had lack of time too, because we were just so busy trying to get by, and that was a horrible thing, because part of me knew I didn't come here just to be a work donkey, a wage slave. I wasn't born as a magnificent human being just to be a worker. I wanted more out of life, and I suspect a lot of people do. Let me ask you a question. If, let's say you've got a bank account at one of the local banks, and one morning they ring you up and say, hey, guess what? Overnight, somebody put a huge amount of money in your account. Yep, we checked, it's yours. So have a good day. And you go, well, that's a great day, right? Suddenly, you no longer have to work for a living. I'm assuming you have to work. You no longer have to work for a living. You've got the money to live where you want, do what you want, live the way you want, travel if you want, stay home if you want, all that. How would your life be different if lack of money was no longer an issue and lack of time was no longer an issue? What would you do with your life? And see, ask a lot of people this question. It's actually a bit confronting, isn't it? Gee, I hadn't thought that way. And it can be scary. But I think it's a good scary. It's a way to look at the rest of however much time you've got and go, wow, what is worth doing? Not what do I have to do because of lack of money or lack of time, but what's worth doing? What would give me joy? What would fulfill me? And it's a big question, it's an important question. I don't expect you to actually answer right now, but what I would like you to do is start to open up the thinking around the given of I've got a lack of money in my life, it'll always be that way, I'll just die that way. And I've got a lack of time, either I'm working too much, or I have responsibility, or I'm getting older, or all the above. And it's just this contracted view of the future. It's not very inspiring, it's not very hopeful, it's not very joyous, it doesn't look like a lot of possibility there. So what we want to do tonight is have a little bit of fun, and just put all that aside, and suspend your disbelief. When you go to the movies or watch a show or read a book, you just kind of enter this fantasy land where anything's possible. I invite you to just have a little bit of fun like that tonight, and after we're through, you can put all that worry back on and all that constraint if you want. But for now, just open yourself to the possibility that there might be another way. Because see, when we were both born in what you'd call lower middle class, or poor. Okay, put it right where it is.
Way down there.
Neither of our families had a lot of money, so we had to figure it out. And I kind of accepted, well, that's the way it is. That's the way everybody. I know. Well,
when we got started in this, we actually had created a lot of debt in our lives. We had been living on credit cards. Not a good thing. Just like trying to make ends meet, and we had something like $52,000 of credit card debt when we started this business.
Yeah.
And I know. Wow, it was awful because we could not see a way out of that. We could not see how we could, I mean, every month it was like paying the minimum, but then what? Then it grows, and then it gets bigger, and then it gets bigger. Plus we had a mortgage because we had bought a house. I mean, it was getting crazy. It was really getting crazy. This was such an incredible gift when we found this. It was amazing.
Talk about lack of money, no? Time poor and financially poor. I mean, we weren't being silly. We were actually trying to find a way to sustain ourselves. So, we made a decision, we'll borrow money to live on while we do this thing. Now, I mean, that may or may not be your circumstance. That was a lot of debt, and we weren't expecting inheritance, we didn't play the lottery, no way out but the way forward. So we sort of, Brenda introduced us to this thing called network marketing. We said, yeah, this looks a lot better. I mean,
you said yes.
I said yes.
I went, oh my God.
I said yes.
What is that?
And Christa, actually, I guess you trusted me enough to
I did.
Sort of go along for a while. Mm-hmm. And now that's changed. Now you fully own it,
now
right?
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Once I understood what it really was and what it really was about, it would just completely opened up a new world for me. To be able to create, because I love community, and I really believe that the relationships we build with each other is one of our true wealth pieces of our life. And creating a community of people where we empower each person in that community to actually have the life they want to have, and to be the person that they really want to be, and to have all the support to do that, because that's what we do. And that's what this has done for me. I mean, it's been an amazing journey for me.
Yeah, me too, because I had an image of network marketing that was totally not accurate. Let me explain what that looked like. No offense to any people with little silver or gray hair. I thought it was this thing from the 60s, this sort of shady thing, where old ladies would go door to door trying to sell each other soap, and it's this whole thing. That was my image of it. Well, I was totally wrong. I'll give you an example of how this funny little image. If I mention the name John F. Kennedy, some of you may know who that was. That was a famous politician, right? The image that I would get from him is this good-looking guy, beautiful black hair, and a couple little baby kids, and, radiant. Well, if he were alive today, I think he'd be something like 96. Probably wouldn't have all that beautiful hair. Those kids are now adults, full adults. So, that image is not accurate of who he would be if he didn't die. Network marketing is the same way. This image that I had was inaccurate. It may have been accurate at one point, but totally wrong. What I see today is it's the most ethical, fair way for us to create wealth for ourselves, our community, and our family. And it's not a bunch of old ladies, no offense to anybody. I mean, I'm 60, right? So I'm old, technically. What I find is that young people are piling in. You know why? Because they look at, I could go to university and spend $10, $20, $50, $100,000 getting an education. I'm going to start at the bottom of the ladder, 4 years or so, or I could get involved in this thing, which is entrepreneur activity, create wealth, and in 4 years be making $10, $20, $50,000 or $100,000 a year. And have freedom, have time freedom. See, I know a lot of guys who make really good money, but they're time poor. They don't have time with their family. And the time they are home, they're so stressed that they're not with their family. And they don't have outside interests. It's just this sort of treadmill to make money. And it's not just guys. It's a lot of women that do it. And for young family, I mean, wouldn't it be much better to be home with your children? Have a home-based business that you can be with your family or your community, create your income, as opposed to having to farm the children out to somebody else so that you can go to work to make the money, so you can pay the child care, so you can go to work to make the money, so you can pay the child care. It's this thing. And it's not just for young people. I mean, if I were in the workforce today, by the way, I'm unemployable, thank goodness. if I were in the workforce and I had a job and I were laid off, right-sized, downsized, outsized, whatever you want to call it, I would probably not be able to get a job in that same industry at 60. Just forget it. They'd hire somebody half my age at half the price, do twice the work. But they think they do twice the work. I'd like to think I'm a bit brighter than that. But the point is, no matter where on that, we're at risk. We're at risk financially. Let me give you a little bit of a bigger picture, if I can. Right now, we're in a global recession. Some people would say we're in a global depression. When I look out there, I don't see any good news. I don't see like, oh yeah, this thing's turning around. By this time next year, it'll all be rosy again. It doesn't look that way. It looks like another 5, 6, 7, 8 years of no or slow or negative growth, which is going to impact a lot more people than you've already seen. We've already seen people worldwide in pretty bad financial shape. My take, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. We'll see what happens. But even if it stays the same, how many of us know somebody that has either lost a job, lost a home, lost their credit, or at risk of any of those things, or if young people just can't get the jobs that they want? I mean, they can go bag groceries. That's not healthy work for people. I mean, if you love doing that, it's great. There's a real serious problem, and it's a structural problem. It's not, you know, some guys in a boardroom with cigars said, oh, you know, let's make people poor. I don't get that. I get there's a structural problem. The structural problem, quite briefly, is the way wealth is created today has shifted. See, in the old days, you could have a piece of land. I mean, you can still do this today. Have a piece of land, grow something, food, animals, whatever. That was where wealth was created for centuries. That was how it was. Land was the source of wealth. Then these things called factories came along in the 1800s. That was a new source of wealth, incredible wealth, by making stuff. Fast forward to the 1950s, service economy was born. More people make money working on things than they did growing things or making things. Fast forward again to the 1970s, 80s, the knowledge economy was born. Suddenly people made money with, you know, working with their brains. More people, and that was wealth creation. Fast forward again to today, it's shifting again. See, every time one of those shifts happened, people fell through the cracks. Lots of people. You can't go from a farm to a sophisticated piece of machinery just naturally or overnight. And you can't go from machinery to working in a knowledge economy overnight. And for a lot of people, there's not an option to retrain or retool. I mean, it'd be nice, but they don't have the temperament or the time or whatever. And this is a new economy now, and we're seeing. And in each of these economies, each transition period, there were winners, people who came out ahead, and there were people who lost, big losers. And we're seeing that again. That's why I say when we look at this global recession or whatever, there's a lot of people losing, and there's not a lot of hope for them. I mean, they can get maybe some government support, maybe for a long, long time, but I don't think most of us would be satisfied with that. So we are in a new economy. And for some of you, here's not a trick question, but it's an intriguing question. Can you name for me a company that didn't exist 15 years ago that is one of the wealthiest companies on the planet, didn't even exist 15 years ago. The owners are very young, under 40, they're gazillionaires. There is a gazillionaire, I just made it up. And they don't make anything, they don't grow anything, they don't work on anything. They give away stuff for free. Every day, you probably even used it today, a lot of you. They give away stuff. They don't even make this, they give away other people's stuff for free. Good, valuable stuff. Anybody have any ideas what one of those companies might be called? Yeah, Google, Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, this is where wealth is being created today. This is the new economy. You know, in the old Depression in the 1930s, it wasn't like this big vacuum sucked all the money up and people got poor. The money's still around. It just shifted pockets. And that's what's going on today. It's not like there's not enough money around. I mean, they're running those printing presses all day, all night to make more money. It's just going in somebody else's pocket, probably not ours. Because the shift is happening. Wealth is being created in a new way. Now that might be interesting. It might be, you know, depressing for you, I don't know. But here's the good news that we want to share right now. There is a strategy for becoming a winner in this new economy. There's a strategy, and you can access it. You have access to the way wealth is being created today. And for most of us ordinary mortals who don't have big inherited wealth, we don't have huge education, we don't have some silver-plated contact base, and we don't have all that stuff, this may be the only way we can access wealth creation. And the really cool thing about it, it's different than the job. Job's only been around 150, 200 years, this thing called a job, in any mass way. And the jobs are disappearing. In case you haven't noticed, the worldwide unemployment is high and growing, and I don't see anything on the horizon that tells me we're going to have full employment again. If you're responsible for your own well-being and your family and perhaps your children and grandchildren, and you want to see that, you have to be in business for yourself. You have to create a business. You have to create a way for that money to come to you. Now, for most of us, you think about being an entrepreneur and, oh my goodness, I need a master's in business, and I need to know accountancy and finance and advertising. I don't have money to do it, and I've got to have experience, and it looks really tough. And that traditional business is. If you want to open a shop, or you want to open a service business, that is a tough go. And the stats are not good for those businesses surviving. I mean, some of you probably own your own businesses, and you might think, yeah, I own my own job. I'm the last to get paid. And some of you might do quite well with it. But I want to ask you a question. If you've got a traditional job or you own your own business, and you stop working today or tomorrow, how much longer are you going to get that income? How much longer are you going to get paid? And for most of you go, well, I got a severance for a couple of weeks or a month, and that's it. And if that's the case, then that's what we call linear income. Linear income. You work an hour, you get paid an hour. Whether you're a practitioner or an employee, you work an hour, you get paid an hour. And when you stop working, you stop getting paid. The new economy allows you to create what we call residual income. And this is lifestyle money. This is the kind of money that you do the work once, you build this thing, which we'll explain in a moment. You build a virtual network, it can be a global virtual business, without bricks and mortar and a shop and inventory and employees and account, all that's old capitalist stuff. We can show you how to be an entrepreneur and own your own business and create your own network that can last the rest of your lifetime. In other words, Christa and I get paid whether we're here with you, whether we're on the beaches of the world, whether we're doing nothing, whether we're doing work in the communities with groups we love, whether we're with our families, we're getting money the rest of our life, whether we work or not. That's what's on offer. The ability for you to create a family business that you can involve your children in if they want to be part of it, or when you pass on, you can leave it to them. And that money will keep coming in for your children and your grandchildren, and hopefully their grandchildren, and on and on. That's what the new economy is bringing. It can look pretty bad if you look at all the stuff that's cratering, but it can also look like a beautiful way for human beings to have a more fulfilled life if you adopt a winning strategy. And this thing called network marketing is perfectly positioned for this new economy. We don't grow stuff. We don't make stuff. We don't work on stuff. We don't work. As a matter of fact, what do? Well, like Google, we give away information for free, valuable information like we're doing right now. We just told you about some great products. We're telling you now about a way you can create wealth for yourself and your family. We're giving this information away. What you do with it is your choice. But Christa mentioned earlier that we owed over $50,000 of consumer debt with no real way to pay it off. We make more than that every single month now, whether we're working or not, and we have for over 10, 12 years. We've made more than that every single month, whether we're working or not. Now, you may go, well, that's pretty phenomenal for you, but I don't know how to do that. Well, we wouldn't expect you to just know that, and neither did we. You see, we were very fortunate. We had a good friend ask us to come to a meeting just like this and listen. And we did. And we went, oh, that sounds pretty cool. But don't know what to do about it. And that same friend actually said, should you want to get involved, we will show you. As a matter of fact, we'll be partners. I will work with you to help you get your dreams. Now, why would somebody do that? Well, because they're nice people. Yeah, I get that. And that's a good thing. But there's even more important reason why somebody would do that. Why would I say, you come aboard and do this, I'll partner with you? Why would we do that? Because in this new economic model, there are financial rewards for successful people partnering with you to help you become successful. Because see, this is not the old competitive model, the old competitive business model where it's dog eat dog and it's a limited share and everybody's fighting for that same dollar. This is a cooperative business model. This is the new economic paradigm where we are rewarded for being in service to people. We can only become more successful by helping you become successful. How refreshing. I mentioned earlier, I'm unemployable. You couldn't hire me. I don't need to work and probably would demand such a high amount you wouldn't want to pay it. But I, myself, Christa, the other people that maybe invited you here, we're willing to go to work in your business with you for free. Think about that. What if you were going to start a business, you didn't require any capital to get going, you didn't require a shop, you didn't need a business license, you didn't need experience, you didn't need to have gone to the right school or look a certain way or speak a certain way or have all this contact base or good credit or educate. You didn't need any of that. You just needed to have a dream for a better life and be willing to learn. And then you have powerful, successful people offer you to go into business with you for no charge. Like, just be your partners. Successful people who have your best interests in mind.
One of the things that I love about what Michael's been talking about is that what I really believe is that as we move forward, I mean, we are as a world, we're in a transition time, right? I mean, this massive transition, we're in a time of change. As we move forward, the only way for me that we are going to change anything, the only way that we are going to enhance people's lives is if we work together, rather than against each other. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It doesn't work. I mean, it's kind of worked for some people in some way, but for me, it's about we've got to work together. And that's what I love about what we do, is that it's community. It's without these people, we wouldn't be here. Without the rest of the community, we wouldn't be where we are. We've got to work together in order for each one of us to create what we want in our life. And I just love that paradigm. It is so different to anything else that I've seen.
We're actually coming to the end of this part of the presentation. We'll be around if you want to chat or if you have any questions, but I actually want to leave you with an invitation. And the invitation is this. If anything that's been said tonight sparks your interest, maybe you've heard my story about the products and what they've done for me. You've heard several other people talk about how they make life-changing differences for them and their family. If any of that sounds of interest and you want that, please investigate. If anything about the business and the freedom, economic freedom, the time freedom, the location freedom to live where you want, to maybe have a different outcome for the rest of your life than the one you have now. If any of that sounds interesting, please investigate. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. You see, we don't come here expecting you to go, oh, I'll do this the rest of my life. I mean, that'd be great. It's unrealistic. It would be unrealistic. But what we do offer you is the chance to do due diligence, what's in business called due diligence, meaning you investigate. You don't make any commitments. I would encourage you to think of this like a test drive. If you wanted to buy a new vehicle, you'd probably go down to the car lot and you wouldn't just say, I'll take that one. You'd say, well, I'll take it for a test drive. I'll see if I like it. So you take it out and start it up and it smells good and looks good. You go, okay, yeah, I'll take it out on the road. And if you take it out and you're getting green lights, you just keep going. Yeah, this feels good. Like this. Yep, yep. If you get a yellow light, so to speak, slow down. Not sure about this. If you get a red light, stop. This is not your vehicle. And it's the same with this. This is not for everybody. For those that do enjoy it, they've found lots of freedom and lots of joy and goodness, and it's work. It's hard work. There's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not some sort of giveaway or hit the jackpot. It is a get-rich-quicker scheme than the 40-40-40 plan. You know, work 40 years, 40 hours a week, and retire on about 40% of what you need to live. It's better than that, way better. But it is work, and it requires work. It's, for younger people, I encourage you to think of it as a career path. And, you know, think of it as a way to, for some of us, to pass on to the next generation some legacy, something of value, a real, what I call an evergreen asset, an asset that will increase through the years, pass that along to your generation, provide that to your family as a form of security and enjoyment. Take a look. Take it for a test drive. Try the products. Try them risk-free. Hey, how would you feel if you went to the car lot and the guy said, oh yeah, just drive it around for 3 months. If you don't like it, bring it back. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Don't try this at Woolies or Countdown, by the way. You know, go in and buy, for 3 months, go in and buy your shopping cart and then come back on 89 days and say, don't like that stuff. I want my money back. You're going to go, whoa, it doesn't work that way. That's what this company does because it believes so much in the products. Try them for 3 months. Get all your money back if you don't like the wrapping. There's no, it's a empty bottle guarantee, complete satisfaction. Try the business. Try the business. Just test drive it. You have nothing to lose. You have no risk here. You might find, though, for yourself that you get the benefits of the product. You'll get your own benefit. You might find in the business you start getting a benefit of having financial freedom, of being a business owner, and all the benefits that come with that. And even more importantly, as Christa said, to work in community with powerful people who are up to something, successful people who are good-hearted and ethical and out for your best interests.
Could I just share something really quickly? I was just thinking while Michael was talking back to when we first started doing this, and when I finally said, yes, okay, I'm in, which took a little while, I remember getting this phone call from a woman who had been really ill for a long time. And I got not the courage, which was really hard for me, to tell her about body balance and just offer it. And so she said, I'll try anything. She took it, and so I get this phone call. It was only about 2 or 3 weeks later, and this woman was crying on the phone, and my immediate reaction was, oh my God, what have I done? But she broke down and she said, thank you so much for what you did, because I've got my life back. And I just went, oh my God, that's what I'm doing? That's what I get paid for? And that was it. That was my hook. I was in. It was amazing. And day after day after day, you know, I can see people nodding their head. We get calls like that, right? What a way to live and create a living and just this community of people who are constantly out there changing people's lives. It's amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.